Well, well, well. After one moving rearrangement, after multiple different rewrites, and after a copyright strike, and a bunch of different things I've read, it took me essentially almost a whole year and a half to review this. I mean, I'm not a procrastinator or anything. Anyway, yeah, I mean, it has finally been a long time since I've reviewed One Piece at all. And finally, we're here with the One Piece Thriller Bark review that was supposed to come out on Halloween, didn't come out on Halloween. A lot of things I lie about. That's not the point. Point is that I'm going to be reviewing this. So, here we go. So our story revolves around the Straw Hat crew that once again after defeating this large group of enemies, is now leaving Water 7 and now venturing off to Fishman Island. On the way there, they stumble along the way and meet a skeleton who talks. His name is Brook. And when they speak to Brook, they realize that he has no shadow. And Brook tells the entire Straw Hat crew of exactly what his problem is. A warlord of the sea known as Gecko Moria has taken Brook's shadow, and Luffy, being the person that he is, promises that he's going to get Brook's shadow back so that way that he can join the crew. So they stumble upon the island known as Thriller Bark, which is a giant boat that is the size of an actual island. So the entire crew walk around trying to fight ghosts and zombies and trying to get their shadows back before the sun rises as their shadows are taken away. And basically, it's just an entire brawl fest the entire way through. It's full of action and just full of fun. And Luffy, once again, has put himself into a situation that is absolutely insane. Now, to me, I really did like this story. Luffy and Zoro and Sanji and later on Robin are trying to get their shadows back. Well, they're fighting to get their shadows back before the sun rises, so that way they are able to live. They're also trying to fight to get Brook's shadow back. And, I mean, along the way, they're just trying to fight for the same goal. Now, I did like this story, but I didn't really like the setting, or really the conflict. Like, Moria didn't really seem like that threatening of a person against Luffy, but in all reality, he really was. But he just wasn't set up very well for me, and I just didn't like how he turned out. So, I typically think that this is one of the less good villains in the entire series, but that's just my opinion. So along with this entire new arc, we are introduced to an entire new character, and this is Brook's developing arc. This is where we learn his backstory, we learn his character, the way he interacts with people, and just who he is in general. And even though this is an introduction arc, Brook really didn't get a lot of development until the very, very end when it gave his backstory, because honestly, the spotlights for this entire arc were Usopp, Luffy, and Zoro. Without them, there really wasn't much meat to this arc, because Brook didn't get that much development this time around, and so we're just kind of left hanging there. I mean, Brook maybe just doesn't get that much development in general, and he's really not that hard of a character to back behind. But the thing is, it's just that he didn't get very moments, because Zoro came and stole his moment of where he was fighting someone. Everyone had their own villain to fight, and Brook did too, but Zoro came in and stole that from him, which is kind of disappointing, because I really wanted Brook to be seen as more of a powerful character, but I guess that's just not the case. But for the other three, Usopp, Luffy, and Zoro, they all had their great moments. Usopp was finally able to beat someone without being stupid, and he honestly was really good. And I like this moment for Usopp, because Usopp's the underdog, and sometimes you really hate him, but for this moment in general, I really liked how he was able to progress on what he normally is capable of. Luffy, this time, actually got some development as well. Like I said, Moria wasn't that well set up of a character, and I didn't really think that it was that big of a conflict, but Luffy was brought to his limits, and proving to Luffy that he has to find some restraint. He has to become stronger, and so it's kind of a good thing for Luffy because he's realizing what his limits are. And finally, I'm not going to spoil it here. I think that this is something that you should read for yourself. Zoro's moment for this entire arc was absolutely insane, and I really think that you should just go watch it / see it for yourself, because it was really good, and it's one of Zoro's defining moments. So yeah, overall, the story this time around was pretty solid, and the characters had some really good time in it. It was average for One Piece. This is not one of the longer arcs, which probably makes sense as to why there wasn't much development for Brook, but still, at this moment, we have to have something. But this is one of the average stories this time around. Now, the characters this time around that were introduced are better than usual, but at the same time, I think that they're really just better on for later on, if you understand what I'm saying. What I'm trying to point at is that right now they aren't really that big of a deal, but later on they will be, which is some continuity for this series. Go, Ladybug. Get out of here. So first up we have Brook, the Devil Fruit user, who has his shadow stolen. We meet him in the middle of the ocean where he's just stuck wandering around trying to find people until he finally finds a Straw Hat crew that he can trust enough for him to be fought for. I mean, they fight for his shadow to get back, and that's pretty cool for them to go to such lengths. The second character that was introduced was Gecko Moria, who is a warlord of the sea. With the ability to steal people's shadows, he keeps people on this island, creating his own army of zombies and monsters. So basically, he's kind of like Jack Skellington, but a lot cooler and less emo. That didn't make sense, but it's true. And lastly, Bartholomew Kuma, another warlord of the sea who is insanely powerful, who looks like a panda bear, but hits like a tank. Maybe also like a panda bear. I don't know how they work. But the point is that he's some dull, tall-looking kind of guy, and he can whoop the crap out of you with his big old bare hands. Get it? Because she has bare hands. The rest of the characters of this arc were really uninteresting followers of Moria that I did not find really entertaining at all, especially Absalom. Absalom was one of the worst parts of this entire arc. He was the one part that made me not like Sanji, and I love Sanji. He's my favorite character, and he made Sanji unenjoyable for me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry again. But the point here is that, listen, some of these characters just weren't interesting at all. There's about 3 good characters. The rest were very, very boring. That's all I gotta say. In the art department, we have very good art. This is right after Enizabi, and Enizabi is my favorite art style in the entire series. Just the way that it was drawn out looks perfect to me, and I think that it is some of Oda's best work. But the thing is here is that he just has so much room to shine right here, and he uses it very well. All the zombies and all the monsters are drawn really well, and there's some extra lines that are used, and, you know, he's experimenting a little bit, and it looks pretty well. I think I like it a little bit better than Eni's Lobby, and that's a good thing. And so I really like the art this time around. This arc was not that great. It was average at best, because for the most part, it only had 4 defining moments that really stuck out to me, and it really didn't have much development for the new character. With that said, Brook had a really sad backstory. It was really sad. It was really sad. Here is that this is just a block from the new world, and I mean, it just didn't really hit me right. You know, to be fair, this was just an average arc, and in comparison to some other shonens, it does this fairly well, and just keeping your attention and being a good action. And so this is just an average arc of One Piece, and I would recommend it for a lot of people. It's just not one of One Piece's best. Alright? So, the thing is that we just didn't have that many good moments. The entire setting just has a Halloween feel, and so it just doesn't hit me right, because I'm not a huge fan of Halloween. I don't really like a spooky feel, and this kind of just hit me there, and it just wasn't for me. So, with that in mind, I think I'm going to give One Piece Thriller Bark a 7.7 out of 10. And I say that you should go out and buy this. It's small, and it's not too expensive if you just really want a small arc of One Piece, just to try to get into it. Speaking of which, if you would like to get into One Piece, and you want to start at Thriller Bark, this is issues 46 all the way to 50, so that's only 5 volumes, which is $10 a piece. That's about $50 right there. You're spending $50 on One Piece volumes, and if you're interested in this, then go for it. But if you have both of the box sets, like you've been following for my other reviews, then you can go ahead and get the third one, because this has Thriller Bark all the way to the New World, and so there you go. You're caught up all the way to a certain point. Then you just have, all these other volumes to pick up, but you have Thriller Bark. That's all that matters for this video, right? Thank you guys so much for watching. If you really did enjoy this video, then I suggest you guys go and subscribe for more. You can see my other reviews, you can see my other videos. I really recommend watching some of my other stuff, because it is really cool, and I really have a lot of fun doing it. If you want to see what I talk about a lot, you can follow me on Twitter as soon as I get the right Twitter handle on, because I've been putting the wrong Twitter in my bio for a long time. I didn't mean to. But you can go follow me on there, and, you can watch some of my other videos. I have a lot of other reviews. If you like One Piece, you can go watch my other One Piece reviews. I think you will really like it. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.